from here, if I can step and punch at the same time, yet again, non-telegraphically, I can cover a lot of distance. You don't develop the hand speed and power at the gym. You develop it, you can learn the skill at the gym, but it's only honed by yourself, hitting the bag all day. That's how you develop the power, the conditioning, the flexibility, the speed, that's all by yourself. So solo training is a big, big, big thing in martial arts. What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Thank you for watching. You saw the title. Today, this is going to be a part 2 to how to train martial arts by yourself. If you don't have a partner or don't have a consistent partner, you're not going to a gym. How can you train by yourself? That's what we're going to go over. And if you're new and you have not seen part 1, go to my channel and you'll see the first video of me talking about how to train a little bit. I showed some stuff on the bag and I showed you some equipment that you might want, which is this boxing bag, speed bag setup. This is crucial in my opinion for training alone, because if you're training alone, you're going to have some sort of equipment. Yes, shadow boxing and forms are good, and that can do a lot, and that's really good for getting the muscle memory down. That's like the first stages. Whenever you're practicing, you need to practice the techniques on your own, kicks, punches, elbows, knees, clinching, whatever, and shadow boxing movements, go over it time and time again so that it can be repetition. And when it becomes muscle memory, that's when you don't have to think about the technique. And when you're sparring, hard sparring or fighting, the technique comes out and you don't have to think, you can just perform it. So that's the goal. But after you do that, there's still so much more that you can do training wise. So that's when you're gonna need equipment, right? If you like this video, be sure to give a like. And last, before we get in, this video is gonna be my course. And in my course, I have a full guide on how to train by yourself with no partners. The course will go over the one dummy, the boxing bag, the speed bag. This video is going to be in the course itself, but if you want to learn how to train by yourself, if you want to learn martial arts, Jeet-Kune-Do, Bruce Lee's own routine, his own workout routine and his diet plan, all that stuff, it's going to be in my course. So without further ado, let's hop right in the video. So the first training method we're going to talk about today is this long piece of tape. This was one of the ways Bruce Lee liked to train his eye jabs and finger jabs. Now, all you need for this is a piece of tape, a long piece of tape, or a string, a wire, and then at the end around your preferred eye level, right? It can be at your eye level, a little bit higher, a little bit lower, but you want it at least at your eye level, or a little bit higher. We're gonna put some, either like I have like a piece of tape, like a piece of cloth tape here, or you can maybe draw a dot, or you can have like a piece of an index card or something here that's small, right? It's like just about the size of a quarter. And this is to represent an eye. This is to help with accuracy. So when you're doing eye pokes or eye jabs or finger jabs, you're able to hit the target in real life. This is another really good way to practice that. It was said that Bruce would have something hanging and he'd be able to hit it and finger jab. I think it was said that he had like a mask hanging and he would do finger jabs in between, like, you know, where the eye holes are, he would do finger jabs in the eye holes and not touch it for so many reps. Just keep going, bam, 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 bam. And was able to hit inside the hole and out without touching the mask, just to get the accuracy. So this is a good way to do it. So real quick, I'm gonna have a video pop up me doing it fast.
Do what no one else does. Run 3 o'clock in the morning because no one else is running 3 o'clock in the morning. If they're training 3 hours, you train 4 hours. You train when the gym is closed. You know, whenever the gym is closed and you already trained, you train again. You know, you have to do what no one else is doing.
But right now I'm really sore, so I'm not gonna go as fast as I was in the video. But there are a few ways to train this. The first way, the beginner way, if you're new and you've not done this before, you're gonna practice in your stance and practice hitting it, like this. And notice, you don't have to be ultra fast to do it. That's not really the point. The first point is to just be non-telegraphic. When you're in your stance, and for me, my stance, I like to keep my rear hand up on my chin. That's one thing that I've kind of learned from a friend and from like old school boxing, like the early days of boxing, they had the rear hand up by the chin a lot because the gloves were smaller. So it's really like a fist coming to you. And with it by your chin, it's much easier to catch the fist, right? And if they hook, you can come out, you can come here. If I'm here, I can shoulder roll. I like it like this, so that's the way I practice it. This is my actual stance that I use. And later, we'll go over how to work that on the speed bag as well. But the point is, you're not trying to do as fast as you can. You're only trying to do it with no telegraph first. That's the biggest point. Because if this is a person, once, you probably know this, but once you're in touching range of a person, where let's say this was his actual eye and I'm like right about here, if I do not telegraph, then I'm able to hit him at will. Even if his hand is right here, ready to block, if I have no telegraph, I can hit and he will not be able to see it coming. Because by the time his eyes see that I'm going to punch, his brain has to signal to his body, hey, he's going to punch, block the punch with this block. By the time that happens, you already hit him. So you get in your stance and you practice from here, going straight to the target. You know, no telegraph, like that. That speed alone, that will work. That will get somebody instantly. You don't need to be ultra fast yet. You want to work up to that. But the non-telegraphic part is the most important part in my opinion. Now, let's say if his hands were down, like he was just talking like this, or his hands were low, then like I said, I would, bam, do that. And you can practice, you can move around. Now, let's say if his hands are up, because you know, you're fighting, sometimes their hand will be up, you know, with a guard. To give you an idea, if, let's say I have a right lead stance or a southpaw stance, and he has an orthodox stance or a left lead stance, if you imagine that, he's squared off, you know, hands up, and I can do more of an eye poke, which is what I kind of like a little bit more. Because if his hands are up, and my hand's up like this, I can deflect his jab with my front hand and then finish with the eye poke. Because think, if I'm moving, if he throws a jab, bam, I can deflect. Even if he throws a cross, I can still deflect with his front hand. And so when he throws a jab, I can deflect and then bam. So I'm almost like making a frame. I think in boxing it's more like you're making a frame, but I can literally push off his jab hand and then finish. So that's another way you can practice it from here to here, and just extending the arm. Not really trying to go back, but more really just extending the arm. Because in real life, you don't need to hit the eye and come back as fast as possible, because you're not gonna grab your arm. As long as you do this and come back in a reasonable fashion, you don't have to be all fast with it. The point is to get it fast there, and that's it. Because then you're gonna push, once you hit his eye and go forward, you're gonna push his head back. It's not gonna grab your hand, so you don't need to go the point really is to just get there. And then after that, you can set up shots. So I like that variation as well, of smoothing, and just extending your arm, representing, bridging that gap over the person's arm, and going to the eye poke. That works as well. So you can do a lot of reps. Bruce would do hundreds of reps on this. Of course, he had his patented finger jab that is very fast, very, very good at. But like I said, those two methods I just showed you, you can do easily. And the point is to build repetition. You'll see with a lot of the solo training, the point of solo training is to really build the mind-muscle connection and the muscle memory to do the move when you're sparring, when you're fighting, and to not have to think about it. So the more reps, the better. You do it every other day, have this hanging up in your room, in your training space, wherever, right? This is my workout room at my work, so have it wherever you can, and just practice. Then, when you get better, you can practice with this lead hand down, same thing. As Bruce Lee said, the hand coming up is harder to see. So that's another way to practice coming up off it, bam, like that. The next thing we're gonna get into is the speed bag. So, real quick, I'm gonna show you how to use the speed bag, but unconventionally, right? My biggest motto is that if you're trying to become the best or really good, then you can't train like everybody else. So, I'm not gonna show you how to actually do that. I'm not gonna show you how to do that. You can look up a YouTube video, how to use speed bag. Tons will pop up and that's easy to learn. What I'm gonna show you is one method that I use in using it. Because of course I hate it normal, but also I do this variation that I made up because, yet again, it works through repetition. You'll notice a lot with soul training, most of it is using your imagination to figure out how to train your strengths, how to train your weaknesses, and be able to piece together how you can use this in fighting and to make your sparring better. So it's a lot of being creative and finding ways to make yourself better. At this point, I found that helps me not get hit in sparring. So I already told you my stance now. I do Jeet-Kune-Do and I have a classic right lead stance or southpaw stance, but my rear hand is literally up by my chin like this. It can be touching. I like it touching a little bit because it's something about the sensitivity, especially in Wing Chun. The sensitivity, it's much faster. It's a faster connection. So I like touching a little bit, and even here. My lead hand can be in front on center line, it can be out, it can be down, but I like this rear hand here, and I'm gonna show you why on this bag. Now, what I found, you don't actually have to be here, but this makes it so much easier when someone's trying to hit you in the face. I've found that if your hand is lower, it takes a little bit more reflexes, and you can still do it to come up and hit, to parry. But I found that having it here is almost like a cheat code for me. That having it here, it's so much easier. I can see it coming, I can bam, I can see it, bam. So I train that on the speed bag like this. I'll get the speed bag and I'll get my stance. And now you do whatever stance you want. And like I said, you don't have to have the hand up here, but just have it close to your face because that's good form, have it close to the face. And you're gonna hit the bag with a lead punch. Now when the bag comes back, the bag coming back represents a punch to the face. And now you'll parry it. This helps reaction time, your speed and timing. It's a great drill. Yet again, this represents someone trying to hit you in the face. And you bam, come in and block it. And you do this so many times that now, when someone actually tries to hit you and you're in your stance, it's natural to just come up and bam, block. Because when your hand's is close, there's only 3 ways to defend a punch to the face now. If the punch is straight, it'd be a jab, cross, lead punch, any straight shot, up, and just catch it, bam. If it comes around, you can easily come out, bam, and block like this. And if it comes around this way, then I can either come this way, I can come this way, or I can do a shoulder like this. So we're training this for if the jab is coming, a jab or a straight shot coming to the face. So it's gonna look a little bit like this. Look at my stance, bam. Bam. And then once it moves, I'll stop it and reset it and keep going. Notice how when I punch, I'm not telegraphing. So we're training a lot of good drills and a lot of good habits with this. When I punch, I'm not doing, no. Non-telegraphic punches only. From here, I go straight in the shot, the ball hits, and then bam. Do that for as many times as you can. It's a great drill. It really builds that reflex to where when someone punches at you, bam, easy. You've done it so many times. it just comes out. The whole point of the repetitions is to have the technique so hardwired that you no longer have to think about it. So when you get in a fight, you no longer have to think about it, it comes out. That's the goal of the solo training. It's how you develop good punches, good hits, good striking. That's how you develop it, by training by yourself. You can't develop high, good, flashy kicks at a gym. The place where you develop that is at home, stretching, training, practicing kicks. That's how you develop that. You don't develop the hand speed and power at the gym. You develop it, you can learn the skill at the gym, but it's only honed by yourself, hitting the bag all day. That's how you develop the power, the conditioning, the flexibility, the speed, that's all by yourself. So solo training is a big, big, big thing in martial arts. So don't underrate it. And like I said, the main point of solo training is to be able to be creative enough to find ways to work it. That's the biggest thing. Okay, another drill is gonna be on the boxing bag, heavy bag, whatever you wanna call it. Now you already know you can use this bag to hit, to kick, the elbows. You already know that. You can use knees on them as well. I'm not gonna go over that because you know that. What I will go over is another thing that I made up, but it's really good anyway. This represents if you're sparring or fighting somebody. When you're sparring or fighting, you're gonna have distance management. That's a huge skill that you're not gonna learn anywhere else but sparring. You're not gonna learn anywhere else but fighting. Distance management is very important, and the bag is gonna represent your opponent, and you're gonna be in your stance, and you're gonna practice coming in and out of the distance, and I'll explain why. Okay, this simulates if you have a very, very good non-telegraphic punch and kick. But I mean, if and when you develop a really good lead hand, it's hard, it's very hard and powerful, but the opponent can't see it. Ready to shot and they can't see it, they're not gonna see that. Once that happens, once or twice to the person's face, they're not gonna want to just blindly rush in, and they're gonna be a little bit more patient. What I mean is that when you throw it a few times, you're gonna notice that there'll be some points where you're a little stagnant with the person, where he's not coming in, you're not coming in, but you're kind of waiting for him to do something a little bit, and he's waiting for you to do something. The range in that moment is very important, because if you're too close, let's say if this is the person's hand, right? If I'm this close, yet again, I'm too close. Because if he is fast, if he does not telegraph, he will hit me. I have no chance. The only way he cannot hit me if my hands are up like this, blocking his view, blocking to where he physically can't punch and lock. But if my hands are like this, if he does not telegraph, there is zero chance for me to block that punch. I've done it, I know it works. So you need to be slightly out of his range enough to where you have time. That's why, if you look at Bruce Lee's sparring videos, the ones that are, in the tournament, he's in a tournament or whatever, demonstrating, and he spars. That's why you notice that when he's sparring, they're like at this distance. Because Bruce is so fast, and his students had such a good lead punch as well, that you cannot be at this range like getting punched in the face because they're too fast. So once you're at this range, and you keep them back by kicks, kicks to the lead leg, kicks to the body, you're gonna keep at this range. This way, if he comes in to punch, I have time to react. I can move back, I can intercept, I can circle out, I can move, I can fake. I have time to do something, I have time to see the attack. When I'm too close, I don't have time to see it. So in real life, when the fight starts, you wanna be the aggressor, you wanna attack, obviously. But in sparring, or after this range is broken and now there's space, then you want to be just out of the person's range. And that's what we're gonna practice with this bag. Like I mentioned earlier, this is a little more for Jeet-Kune-Do guys that use leg kicks to the shin or the knee, right? And you can use the sparring, especially if they don't have pads, you can just kick to the shin. You don't have to kick to the knee and hurt them. But once I'm doing that, just keep back, that's easily gonna establish, okay, there's a range here. The goal now, you want to be right outside of your opponent's range. That is the key. That's what all the great fighters do. That's what Bruce Lee did. That is one of the keys to fighting. That you only get from fighting. You're not gonna learn this by yourself, so I'm gonna break it down. If he has his hands up, let's say this is his front hand. I wanna be right here. Because that's his front hand, he has to travel this distance to hit me. Even to kick me, if he moves, I can see that from his range. But if I'm too close, I don't see that anymore. So, and notice too, he's right outside of my range too. So I know that. But you want to at least be here, maybe a little bit further if you're new. But this range where I'm outside of his range, he's outside of my range. But just so much. The reason being, once he takes a step to come in or commits to a shot, now we're in range. You see that, right? If he takes one step, shovel, try maybe throws a double jab or something, now he's broken the barrier and I'm in range to hit him. So the whole point is that you want to be just right outside of the range so that when you see an opening, you can attack. That's why footwork is so important, because at this range, I can still hit him. The only thing is, he does not know that. Unless he has great footwork and has a good fencer or leading step, he will have to move and I can see it coming. So from here, if I can step and punch at the same time, yet again, non-telegraphically, I can cover a lot of distance. So first, play with your lead punching and practice doing a step. All I did there, when I punch, I step with my front foot, pushing off the back leg. It's a very classic lead punch with the fencer. This is what Bruce made with the fencer step of coming back. With this punch, I can be out here, moving around, and gain a lot of distance, but it's hard to see. But your opponent probably doesn't know that. So you're gonna be just outside of your opponent's range with that in your arsenal. So practice that first, practice that step a lot. And notice too, the real goal, you wanna get it to where you step and punch at the same time. Go here, step and punch. Yet again, I'm not telegraphing if I do that. Because if I step and then punch, that's telegraphing. He can see move in, and then he can defend. So the way to practice this on the bag and to practice the distance management is you get the bag and you swing it. Now, you practice coming in, coming out, coming in. Notice it's a relationship. When he comes out, I'm getting just outside of his range. While this is happening on the bag, you can still practice strikes with it. Practice your strike, practice lead punch, finger jab, kicks. The point is to practice when the person moves forward and tries to get into your range, you just move just enough to where you keep the distance. I'm not running away, I'm not running away. Just enough to where it's like, oh man, I gotta commit. And then he commits to try to bridge the gap. You can hit him, you can get out the way, or you can intercept him. I've done this a lot. And like I said, the way to establish this, now, you're gonna shin your knee, they're not gonna come in immediately at that split second. And now that establishes, okay, I kicked him. Now, if he wants to fight me now, he has to come in to attack me. And thus, I'm ready to either intercept, or if he swings, back up. He kicks, back up. Or yet again, intercept him in the face, intercept. So yet again, to practice this part of the drill, swing the bag, and then practice moving around, come just in and out of range. Then two. Then you can practice when the bag is moving towards you, intercepting. So like this, going, moving out. Okay. You can practice hitting right as the bag is rocking back to you to to practice your intercepting skills, to practice your distance management, which also can help you reading the person, reading when he wants to move forward, reading when he's off the ground. Reading that stuff is very important as well. So if you want to learn more ways and tips to train by yourself, because you don't have a partner, you don't have a class you're going to, click the link in the description of my course. I go in detail on training by yourself, Jeet-Kune-Do, some Wing Chun, Wing W techniques, all the stuff. Self-defense, real self-defense. Like, let's say you had a few days or a week to actually learn how to fight in real life and you do not have any prior martial art knowledge, how you can do that. I have over 7 courses on my course, going from everything, Manavet's name, Bruce Lee's diet, all that stuff, Bruce Lee's training, everything. So if you want more of that stuff, go in the link in the description. With that out the way, thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe and let me know if I should do another one of these videos about how to train by yourself. And without the way, like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, and I will see you in the next video. Peace, stay safe, keep training.